this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and what I'm doing today is actually I'm making my daily juice. So my daily juice is going to consist of a certain produce items, and today what I'm going to be juicing are some carrots here, apples, got some cucumbers, some celery, and some delicious Swiss chard picked fresh out of my garden. And what we're going to do today is that we're going to juice this in the GSE-5000. This is by far my favorite gear juicer on the market today. First, we're going to talk about why the GSE-5000 is different than many of the other juicers on the market. You know, just like if you're a mechanic has a toolbox and he has many different tools and each tool kind of does a little bit different job. Well, all the juicers on the market do a little bit different job and are intended for certain and juicing certain produce items better than others. So for example, this one's called the Green Star Elite Juicer. So think about it. Greens, think vegetables. So this juicer here is perfect for juicing vegetables, especially things like the chard that I'm going to be juicing in a little bit, and the celery, and even things like carrots. It does an absolutely amazing job. And you know, this machine is the only 3-stage juicer on the market. And let me go ahead and take this guy apart and show you guys what it looks like on the inside. We got the top housing cover here. We're gonna pop off these guys here, and inside the casing of the machine itself, here's the juicing screen. We have the twin gears. Now these twin gears have 3 specific sections on them. The first section is the crushing stage, where it literally crushes all the produce up. The next stage right here on the gears is called the mixing stage, and this is the stage that most juicers do not have. It allows some of the produce that's been crushed to get mixed up so that you may get further extraction and further nutrition out of the juice. The last area in the gears are the squeezing stage, and in this area what happens is the produce is literally wrung out and all the juice comes out into your collection glass below. Now this machine runs on twin gears. Now this is the original twin gear juicer. Other juicers on the market that may also use 2 gears, you know, legally cannot use the term twin gear because that's a trademarked name for the Green Star series of machines. So they have dual gears. You may think that the twin gear juicers and the dual gear juicers on the market are all the same. Well, I mean, because both, after all, they both use 2 gears. But you know, that's where the similarities end. The twin gear juicers, including the Green Star Elite Juicer, the Green Star series of juicers, have patented technology, including a patented cutting teeth, a patented pocket recess that's going to actually chop up the fibers so you don't actually have to pre-cut your produce, which you may have to do on some of the other juicers. In addition, this machine has a far infrared and magnetic technology that will allow you to store your juice up to 72 hours with minimal nutrient degradation. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Anyways, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and put this guy back together, and I'm going to explain to you some of the different parts, and then we're going to get into some juicing and answering some of those questions. So the first thing to do when using the gears is you're always going to want to line up the gears. It's very important to line up the gears properly. If you just take the gears any haphazard way and stick them together, put them in the machine, they're not going to be properly aligned, and the machine is not going to properly work correctly. So it's very important that on this gear there's a little 2 dots, and on this gear there's 1 dot. I don't know if you guys see that on the camera there, but we're going to go align them and make a triangle out of the different dots. So I don't know if you could see that on there, but I made a triangle out of the dots, and now the gears are ready to go in the machine. Then we're just going to go ahead and put these into the machine. And sometimes when I push them in, you got to kind of rotate it a little bit. It'll go back and get seated all the way in there. Next, we're going to put the juicing screen on. And this is actually a good opportunity for me to explain the different screens. So when the juicer comes to you shipped in the box, it's set up and actually ready to juice, although you may want to take it out and clean all the parts and then put it back together. But it's set up with the standard fine screen. So this fine screen is going to make a fine quality juice with very little pulp in it. Now if you want it more juice, you can use the large hole screen or the quarter screen, which comes in the box. So this is an accessory that, you know, some people may want more pulp in their juice. They could use the screen with the larger holes. So there's the difference. In addition, in the box you have some other screens. This is actually called the blank screen or mochi or breadstick screen right here. It's closed on both sides. This will allow for a complete grinding of whatever you're putting into the machine. And this one's actually the open blank. So the open blank doesn't grind things quite up as much. So you could use this one for things like sorbets and nut butters, or this one will work also. The thing to remember is if you put this one in, there's a hole in the bottom and you're going to put it a whole side down so that everything you process is basically going to come out the bottom of the unit. And if you put this one on, it's going to crush everything up and then send it out the front of the unit. So that's how these guys differ. Next, we're going to go ahead and put this standard screen on because that's what we're juicing today. Then we're going to put the outlet casing on here. Once we put that in, we're going to take these latrons and just simply snap them into place. Very simple, very easy. Now on this outlet casing, I want to go ahead and unscrew this guy right here. It's a very important part. This is called the outlet adjusting knob. This outlet adjusting knob, as you can see, has a spring on it. And what this spring does, it keeps tension inside the machine to keep all the pulp in there until it gets it fully wrung out. Then the pulp is going to put pressure on the spring, and actually that's a lot of pressure it's got to put on it, and then allow the dry pulp out. Now, in some cases, such as when juicing wheatgrass by itself, you want to actually take out this adjusting knob altogether. Now, when juicing something like fruits, you're going to want to use the fruit adjusting knob. And this is the fruit adjusting knob. And now, while these may look the same, because they actually really do look the same, the main difference is that this one's black to let you know this is the fruit adjusting knob, and it has a much softer spring tension. So I could take this and probably, easily push it back, whereas with this one, it's much more difficult to push it back. So this is, for juicing fruits that has a lot softer texture. If you try to juice fruits with this outlet adjusting knob, what's going to happen is the fruits are going to just back up on you. Another adjustment that you have on the outlet adjusting knob, besides just the spring tension that's preset, you can actually screw it in a lot or a little. So right now, I'm putting it in, and I just turn it like one turn, and it's in there. So that's not going to put a lot of pressure on the produce. And you may want to do this at some points if things are backing up on you. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and crank this all the way in, probably about a half dozen turns. Now this is in there fully on tight. This is going to allow the most pressure to keep the produce in the machine to get the highest yield. Now this is definitely really important to do when juicing something like hard, like carrots. It's going to keep the carrots in there to get fully juiced before it comes out. Now if you're juicing like only cucumbers, then you actually may even want to use the fruit adjusting knob, because actually cucumbers, think about it, they're a fruit. They're in the same family as melons and honeydew melons and watermelons, and because they do contain seeds, and that's why they're a fruit. So if you do and are using the standard adjusting knob, you may want to loosen it significantly to allow for the pulp to come out. Now, the Green Star Elite, in my opinion, has a fairly higher learning curve than other machines, other juicers. Some juicers you can literally take anything and put it in the machine, it'll juice it and come out. With this machine, you do need to learn some techniques to get the best results out of it. And that's what I'm going to share with you today when I start juicing in just a second. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this machine fully assembled. This last part we're going to put on is this cover part. And this is a very important part to put on, because without putting this part on, the machine's not going to start up. There's a built-in safety switch that is only activated if this machine is in place and properly in place. So we're going to go ahead and put this in. And if we got this in and it's snapped into place, then it's going to allow us to turn the machine on just like that. Say we don't have this in place. Say it's just resting on there. That looks pretty much like it's in place, right? Should be all right. Doesn't turn on. That's because it's not properly seated and it's not going to come on properly. The biggest reason why, if you get the Green Star Elite juicer and it doesn't come on, first you want to check and make sure you got a good outlet. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure this is snapped into place and solid. Sometimes you might have to rock it around a little bit to get it seated properly, but when it is, the machine will come on. If your juicer is intermittent, sometimes when you're juicing, sometimes if this thing is wobbling back and forth, if it wobbles and it comes off, then it's going to stop. You need to make sure it's properly in place to allow the juicer to come on. Now that we got the juicer all assembled, the next thing is we're going to actually have to start juicing. One of the things I like about the Green Star Elite juicer is that it comes with many of the accessories you will need to juice literally right out the box. One of them is this, It's a nice glass collection cup. This is included with the machine. That goes right underneath to catch the juice as it comes out. The other part that is also included that's really nice is a nice stainless steel strainer. This is actually a nice fine screen strainer, so it's gonna, take out extra pulp if you don't want that pulp in your juice. So you can just literally put this on the collection cup underneath and have it go through the strainer, as you're juicing. The thing to remember, if you do this, you may have to shake this down a little bit because it may get clogged up. A smarter thing to do is, just juice into the bowl itself, and then later pour this through the strainer into another bowl, to have your strained juice. So we're not going to use this today. The next thing that the machine does not come with is actually a container to catch all your pulp. So the juice comes out the bottom, the pulp comes out the front, and you're going to need a nice large container. So you could use a big bowl, an old pot, but what I found that works really well is just a standard plastic box from the organic 1 pound spring mixes. This happens to be a herb mix box. But this is, a lot of your organic greens will come in here, and these organic greens are excellent to juice. I'll juice literally 1 pound a day of greens through the Green Star or other juicer so that I can stay healthy, because leafy greens are some of the most nutritionally dense foods on the planet. So we're going to go ahead and take this lid off here, and we're going to simply place this right underneath to catch all our pulp. We're ready to juice, right? Well, not quite. We have one more decision to make as to what pusher we're going to use with this juicer. Unlike many juicers that only come with one pusher, the Green Star Elite gives you an option of 2 different pushers to use, depending on what you're juicing and what you'd prefer to use. So the 2 pushers that come included are, you have a plastic pusher here, and this plastic pusher has a little lip on it so that it doesn't allow you to push the pusher into the gears. And so you could use this pusher to push produce in, or you got a nice wooden pusher. This is personal preference, and I personally like the wooden pusher because it's just real wood. And keep in mind that this wooden pusher will basically push into the gears and get hit by the gears because there's not the little lip to stop it. And the pusher may get ground down by the gears a little bit, but that's all right. This is a food grade wood that basically, if it does get ground down, it'll just, the wood pulp will come out with the vegetable pulp. So no big deal. So yeah, I'm going to be using this guy today. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn this machine on and start juicing. Now we're ready to start juicing, and you can see here I have a variety of produce items that I'm going to be juicing today. Now the first thing before juicing in the Green Star Elite juicer or any juicer is to ensure you have proper produce selection. What's that mean? Well, that means you just want to get freshest and highest quality produce as possible. Say you go down and buy the produce off the reduced rack that's all wilty and stuff, where the apples are all soft and mealy instead of hard, firm, and crunchy, right? Those produce items are not going to juice that well, and I recommend you guys don't buy them, especially if you're juicing. If you're cooking, maybe you could use those guys because the texture doesn't matter, but when juicing, the juicer requires a nice, hard, firm, fibrous texture to work properly, especially in the case of the leafy greens. The more fresh or leafy greens and perky they are, the better they're going to juice. The more wilted they are, the more soft they get, they're not going to tend to juice as well. Same thing with the apples. You want nice, hard, firm apples. If they're soft and mealy, then they're going to mush up and make more of an applesauce and not juice that well either. Same thing with the carrots or even the cucumbers here. So you want to select the highest quality produce possible. Now, my tips for selecting high quality produce, it's very simple. Number one, you want to grow it yourself if you can. It's really simple to start your own garden. You could have a 4 foot by 4 foot garden, grow a lot of fresh produce that you could juice, including like leafy greens. They're one of the easiest things to grow yourself. And besides growing your own garden, I would encourage you guys to go to the farmers markets near you, depending on where you live. They may have a lot of farmers markets. Some areas they have almost a farmers market a day. And at the farmers market, the farmers literally picked the produce the day before, or a few days before, or sometimes the morning of the farmers market, so that you're going to get the freshest quality produce. And the freshest quality produce is not only going to juice better, but it's also going to have more nutrition for you. Up to 50% of certain nutrients can be lost after 24 hours of harvest. And most produce, in the standard food chain, going to your grocery store, the health food store, has been harvested maybe like a week before you're getting it. And in the case of apples, sometimes apples are stored for, almost a year in an oxygen deprived environment before they get to you. And that's why sometimes the produce doesn't juice that well. So very important, get the freshest quality produce as you possibly can. The next thing to remember when juicing in the Green Star leaf is the ordering of the produce you're juicing. Now, unlike other juicers, there's no cutting required, so I'm glad I don't have to sit here and chop up everything meticulously to make it work in the Green Star leaf juicer. You're going to see this in a second. It's literally going to suck the leafy greens out of my hands into the juicer to make some of the delicious juice. But what is important is that you follow a proper procedure when juicing. You're going to want to do what I call rotate your produce. So you're going to put a leaf of Swiss chard in, then maybe a celery, and then a carrot, then a cucumber, and then an apple piece. And then after you go through the whole gamut, then you're going to start over. Another leaf of chard, another sprig of celery, another carrot, another apple, and another piece of cucumber. And do that until you're all done with all the ingredients that you're juicing. Don't just take all your chard, put all the chard in, and then, okay, I'm out of chard now. Now I'm going to do all the celery. Now I'm out of the celery. Now I'm going to do all cucumbers. And then now that you're out of the cucumbers, now you're going to put in all the carrots and all the apples. Well, that's not going to work as well as basically giving the juicer different textures. Each of these produce items have a different texture, and some produce items, juice better or will flow through the machine better than others. So, for example, the carrot is definitely one of the things that really helps get the fiber pushed through the machine and gets the machine to work the best. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and turn the machine on, start juicing. One of the things I like about this machine is that actually it's very quiet. Now, as you can hear a gear noise, like gears are hitting or kind of going together. Now, this is totally normal. Another thing you may hear when juicing in the Green Star leaf juicer is some squeaking sounds. And that's also completely normal, so don't be alarmed. Next, let's go ahead and take a piece of this amazing Swiss chard. Here's some red Swiss chard out of my garden, and watch this. Sucks out of my hands, sucks it right in the machine, and juices it right up. That's really cool. Now, I like the Green Star Elite juicer because it literally does do that. Now, when putting in a carrot, you literally have to take the pusher, and you're going to push this down with nice, gentle force into the twin gears. Now, if you do have arthritis or, maybe a weak wrist or forearms or arms or older, then this may not be the juicer for you. What I can recommend is that you always want to have leverage on the juicer. So if you do have challenges with, strength, what you want to do is maybe stand on a nice sturdy stool and stand up taller so that you can reach down lower. You can even put this on a lower table that you could actually look into it and get better leverage as well. So as you can see here, this pulp is coming out and it's actually quite nice and dry. The next thing we're going to do is some celery. Now, some juicers with celery, you need to pre-cut the celery because with these long fibrous strands here, let me see if I could go ahead and pull one off for you guys. Look at that long fibrous strand. These long fibrous strands will literally wrap around some augers or some juicers and clog it up. This strand here will also clog up the ejection port of some juicers and clog it up. But not so with the Green Star Elite juicer. It has pocket recessed teeth which basically chop up all these fibers. So you can literally take this piece of celery, push it right in there, and the celery pushes in nice and easy. And it's going to cut up all those fibers for you automatically. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the cucumber. Now, on the Green Star Elite juicer, it does have a 1.5 inch square feed chute. Now, this cucumber is a nice large cucumber, so we can't fit it in there. So we're just going to have to simply slice it in maybe quarters so that we can fit it in there. No dicing up is necessary. Once we got it in there, drop it in there. Once again, push that in. Let me see if I can do that with one finger. One finger! So it doesn't take that much effort, but I have strong fingers to push things in the machine. Now, once again, the carrots are the hardest thing to push in the machine. Next, we're going to go ahead and take our apple and very simple, just slice the apple up into some pieces so that we can fit it into the machine, no problem. Now, you may be wondering, John, can I juice the apple seeds? Well, I choose to juice the apple seeds. There are things like cyanide in the apple seeds, and if you're juicing only apples and a lot of them, I might not recommend it, but I think in small quantities for me, it's alright. So you should make your own decisions if you think it's alright for you or if you want to remove them. What I want to talk about next is, when juicing straight wheatgrass in the Green Star Elite juicer. Now, the manufacturer says that you can juice wheatgrass in the Green Star Elite juicer. And if you want to solely and only juice wheatgrass with your juicer, then I would not recommend the Green Star Elite juicer for you. What you want to get is the Solo Star 2 juicer, also made by Tribest. That's a single auger style juicer, and the single auger style juicers are much better for only juicing wheatgrass. That being said, if you want to juice wheatgrass, leafy greens, carrots, celery, cucumbers, and all kinds of stuff, that's where the Green Star Elite really shines. But if you do want to juice only wheatgrass, for best results, there's a few tips that I want to give you now before I continue to juice. The first tip is you're going to take some flax oil. Before you start juicing the wheatgrass, you're going to take this and drop in a few drops of the flax oil into the gears. This will coat the gears with some oil and reduce the amount of space in there and offer you less foaming. Another thing you can do to minimize the amount of foam and for the best results when juicing wheatgrass is when you get the wheatgrass, number one, I only encourage you guys to grow your own wheatgrass or buy wheatgrass that is still growing in the tray. Don't buy pre-cut wheatgrass. You don't know how long it's been cut, and the nutrition may be going down. Also, it's going to be harder to juice and may not yield as much as fresh wheatgrass. So get your own fresh wheatgrass or grow it yourself and cut it, and then dunk it in some cold water and then juice it. That's also going to help reduce the foaming. Another thing that's very critical when juicing wheatgrass is you're going to want to remove the outlet adjusting knob. You don't want the knob in here when juicing only wheatgrass. Now, if you're juicing wheatgrass with other things, then you're going to just do how I'm doing now. You're going to do a rotation. Say, instead of the chart we had wheatgrass, you're going to juice a little bit of wheatgrass, a carrot, a piece of apple, a cucumber, a celery. Then start over. A little bit of wheatgrass, a carrot, apple, celery, cucumber. And just continue to rotate the different items that you're juicing. Let's juice some more celery, and I want to show you guys the fibrous stalks or the fibrous strings and how the juicer handles it very simply and easily. Once again, very simple and easy to juice the celery. Let's go ahead and put some more apple in there. One of the things I like about the Green Star Elite juicer, it makes one of the driest pulps. I mean, this pulp I can't even squeeze and there's like no juice left on my hands. Other juicers don't get the pulp this dry. And let me see here if I can pull out any piece of celery. So you can see earlier, this is what literally went into the juicer, a big piece of celery stalk with the strings, and now here's a small piece of string that got cut up. So you can see it cut up the celery. Here's another piece. It cut up the celery into little small pieces. I mean, this is about 1 inch long and it was super large. So this is how the machine is designed to basically cut, slice, and chew the produce for you so that you don't have to, and no pre-cutting is necessary. So this is working amazingly great, actually getting a high yield. I'm already a quarter of the way done with my juice. Let's go ahead and feed some more cucumbers in there. Alright, let's show you another piece of Swiss chard, and here's like a pink Swiss chard. Right in, I love this so much. No hands, look Mom. Right in there, sucks it right up, juices it right up. Next, what I want to talk about is juicing leafy greens. When juicing leafy greens in any juicer, there will be some foam created. Now, why is that foam happening? Well, in my opinion, it's from two reasons. Number one, leafy greens contain saponin, and saponin is basically the thing what makes soap, bubble when you're making it. If you go down to your health food store and you go down the natural laundry detergent aisle, you may be able to find what's called soap nuts. These soap nuts are literally nuts that you put in your wash machine instead of detergents, and they literally clean your clothes by the saponin. So leafy greens, including wheatgrass, contain some levels of saponin that will cause some foaming when juicing them. So when juicing them alone, you can see you're only juicing the leafy greens, and the saponins really come out and cause your juice to foam. In addition, the foaming, in my opinion, happens because there's some airspace in between the gears. So you need to, number one, juice your leafy greens with other things that's going to take up the space when juicing them and also reduce the saponin. So for example, if you're wanting to juice kale, juice a piece of kale, then juice a carrot. Or juice some kale and juice some, celery right after it and rotate the produce when you're juicing it. This will reduce the amount of foam. Now the foam is not a big deal. If you strain the juice with the strainer that's included, that'll easily sieve off all the foam. You can also use a spoon and stir up your juice to mix the foam in. It's definitely not going to hurt you. I love this. The coolest thing is drop a leafy green in there, sucks it right in. Try that with any other juicer, man. It's not going to suck the leafy greens right out of your hand like the Green Star Elite does. Anyways, I'm juicing a whole bunch of leafy greens, and we're going to once again follow that by some carrots. And my collection cup is actually already full. Now, I want to talk about that for a second on, juicing and making your juice. Now remember, with any juicer, there always is going to be a pulp created. The juicer literally is designed to separate the juice from the fiber, and it's the juice of the fiber that feeds you. And actually, Jay Cordage, formerly known as the Juice Man, told me that. But nonetheless, you can see here with this machine, we barely juiced anything. We juiced like 3/4 of a cucumber. We juiced, I don't know, a handful of celery, a whole bunch of carrots, and not even all my leafy greens yet. And we literally have a whole container that's for about 4 cups of juice. This machine is super efficient. Now, that's one of the things you have to remember. You're buying hopefully organic produce, and I encourage you guys to buy and juice organic whenever possible and if it's in your budget. But, the produce is expensive no matter if it's organic or not. And the juicer that's going to get the produce the driest is a juicer that basically means you're going to be saving money in the long run. Some juicers, if you juice this and you could wring out the juice and you get, juice coming out in your hands, you're literally throwing money away because there's juice that you're not getting. With the Green Star Elite juicer, it's one of the most efficient juicers on the market that's going to get a maximum yield for you. I mean, I can look in this pulp, and I'll show you guys this pulp here. Let's go ahead and turn this guy off and show you guys. I mean, this pulp, you can't even see any traces of the chard leaves. It's just, the orange of the carrot with all little specks of produce that's all been chopped up and juiced really efficiently. Next, let's go ahead and try this juice we just made. Here it is. Delicioso. Now, the reason why this juice tastes so delicious, in my opinion, are for a few reasons. Number one, when you're juicing the Green Star Elite, you're using a low RPM juicer. It runs at a slow RPM that's going to maximize nutrition in the juice. In addition, the Green Star Elite juicer is using far infrared and magnetic technology to extract more nutrients out of the juice. Plus, it's the basis of their fresh juice stabilizing technology that's going to allow you to store your juice for 2 to 3 days or up to 72 hours with minimal nutrient loss. Now, I have seen the test data that the Tribest company that manufactures the Green Star juicers have put out, and it is true. That being said, I always encourage you guys to drink your juice right after it's made whenever possible. So if you want to drink juice 3 times a day, I would encourage you guys to make juice 3 times a day with your juicer. Now, yes, you will have to clean the machine after every use because you don't want to let the pulp sit around in the machine for hours at a time. It'll get caked on, clogged up, and your machine will not work quite as good. That being said, say you got to go to a job and, hey, John, should I got to go to my job. If I don't make the juice in the morning and save it, then I'm not going to drink the juice. Well, yes, then by all means, get this machine that's going to allow you to save the juice and keep it the freshest, the longest, and use this machine and take your juice to work. Maybe even, make juice today for the next 2 days and take it to work. You also want to check a video that I have on YouTube about how to store your juice the best way possible. So storing your juice the best way possible, like I show in that video, and the Green Star Elite, in my opinion, is the best way to be storing any of your juices. The last thing I want to talk about before I go is the warranty. The Green Star Elite juicer has a 12-year warranty, and that's the longest warranty on any gear juicer in the entire industry. Now, the Green Star Elite juicer formerly had a 5-year warranty, but this machine is so durable and the manufacturer wants to show that it's taking the leadership stance in the gear juicer technology by offering the longest warranty. So I'm glad that they're recently doing that. If you do see a website that says the Green Star Elite juicer has a 5-year warranty, that's because this has recently changed and now it's a full 12-year warranty. Keep in mind that the original Green Star GS-1000, GS-2000, and GS-3000, and the Green Star Gold machine still have the same 5-year warranty. And what are the differences between the standard Green Star and Green Star Elite models? It's very simple. The body of the housing has changed. Also, the warranty, it's over double as long. And in addition, the Green Star Elite juicer has the new 3-stage juicing with the crushing, the mixing, and the squeezing, whereas the original juicer only has the crushing and the squeezing. We sell a lot of these guys, and by far, in my opinion, this is like the Cadillac of all the juicers. The only downside of this machine is that, it does take a little bit longer to clean than some of the machines are a few parts. But let me tell you, you're rewarded in the taste, the quality, and the yield of the juice you're going to make in the Green Star Elite juicer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this question and answer session with the Green Star Elite juicer. I got to get back to making the rest of my juice for today. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.